Hey, Jason here at Got Your Back. Today I want to address back pain and hip mobility. Specifically, your lack of hip mobility and its effect on your spine. So keep in mind, just a quick review, I want you guys to start thinking about your spine as a stable column. So, and those core muscles that support your spine are exactly that, spine supporters, not necessarily spine movers. So, you know, think of a tower with guide wires coming down. So if this dowel here didn't have stability wires holding it stable in position, it's going to fall over. Or if this was a tubing, rubber tubing, if you don't have something holding this really taut and stabilizing this fairly flexible, bendy material, it's going to buckle, move, and twist all around. So going forward, I want you to think of your spine as a stable column, in that as you move, you want to keep that spine in that neutral and stable position. So therefore, anything that affects your spine stability is going to compromise your back and either cause your back pain or contribute to your back pain or keep you in that chronic state of pain. So therefore, if you have lack of hip mobility or hip motion, that's going to transfer to your spine and put stress on your spine. So, quick review, your hips and your shoulders are both ball and socket joints. The difference is that your shoulder has more mobility because that socket and the ball that fits into it, the head of the humerus, is very shallow. So you have lots of shoulder movement, and your shoulder should be mobile. If it tightens up, it's going to transfer stresses to your spine. Same thing with the hip. Now with the hip, the issue is that not everybody has the same hip joint depth. So you'll have some people that'll have very, very deep hip sockets, and therefore they tend to have issues with mobility through their hips. There's some people that have very shallow hip sockets and they have more mobility through their hips. So it's going to be key that you have the requisite amount of mobility through your hips so you don't put strain on your spine. So if your hips don't move in certain positions, what's going to happen is you're going to try to get that movement or try to get from point A to point B by moving through your spine. So there's specific things that I'm going to show you guys in video 2, how to identify, number 1, whether you have really flexible, mobile hips or whether you have really tight hips. There's a test that you can do to identify that. And that's basically a genetic thing. So, but you work with the genetics you have. So if you have very, very deep hip sockets, probably most likely you're going to have to modify the way you bend and squat and move, okay? People that have very mobile hips can get away with a straighter foot position on the squat, but if you have stiff hips, you might have to open your hips up, go a little wider with your squat position or deadlifting position as you come down into that squat. So if your hips are really stiff or you've lacked or you lack the hip hinge ability, which is basically, I'll show you here, is that I have 3 points of contact here, my head, shoulder blades, and my butt. Now, what I want to do is I want to hinge through my hips as I squat. I don't want to round my back off. And if you've lost that ability to move through your hips because of lack of mobility, or you just, the brain body connection is lost, then you're going to move through your back versus hinging through your hips as you squat down. Okay, So that's a little intro video, some review of the anatomy there with the hip joints and things. So in video number 2, I'm going to take you through what I do to make sure that my hips stay mobile. That way I don't transfer those stresses to my spine and keep me in chronic pain. So if you like this video, hit like at the bottom, and I'll see you guys in video 2.